Massachusetts, a state forged by the sea and the soil. Here in the waters of the North Atlantic and the sandy hollows of the South Shore, two unlikely allies are fighting to cool our planet. One is a gentle giant weighing 70 tons. The other is a tiny, tart fruit that grows in the mud. Together, the North Atlantic right whale and the Massachusetts cranberry bog form a powerful natural shield against climate change, one that scientists are only beginning to fully understand. The right whale is a living biological pump. It dives nearly 600 feet into the cold darkness to feed on dense clouds of copepods, those microscopic crustaceans that swarm in the deep. Then it rises, and when it reaches the sunlit surface, it releases vast, nutrient-rich plumes, a process scientists call the whale pump. By moving nutrients like nitrogen and iron from the ocean floor into the euphotic zone, the zone where sunlight penetrates, these whales fertilize the ocean's pastures on a scale nothing else can match. This stimulates massive blooms of phytoplankton, the microscopic plants that capture 40% of all carbon dioxide produced globally. That is the equivalent of 4 Amazon rainforests, breathing on our behalf. A single whale's nutrient cycle can support enough plankton to sequester thousands of tons of carbon over its lifetime. They are not just residents of the ocean. They are its pulse. To save the whale is to protect the very engine that scrubs carbon from our atmosphere. With fewer than 350 individuals remaining, the loss of each right whale is not just a tragedy for the species. It is a measurable blow to the planet's ability to regulate its own climate. Inland, just miles from the Atlantic shoreline, another climate story is unfolding in the mud. Massachusetts is the second largest producer of cranberries in the United States, but the bogs themselves are the real treasure. Cranberries grow in peatlands, waterlogged environments where the saturation of the soil slows plant decay to an almost imperceptible rate. Instead of decomposing and releasing carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere, organic matter accumulates layer upon layer, century upon century, locking carbon into the earth for thousands of years. These bogs act as blue carbon reservoirs, holding more carbon per acre than almost any other ecosystem on land. The peat beneath a single cranberry farm can store carbon that has been accumulating since before recorded history. Modern restoration efforts across Massachusetts are now turning retired agricultural bogs back into wild freshwater wetlands, further expanding their capacity to absorb floodwaters and draw down even more atmospheric carbon. Massachusetts' iconic red bogs are more than an agricultural staple. They are ancient carbon vaults. By maintaining these wetlands, cranberry farmers are guarding vast reservoirs of frozen carbon, keeping it locked safely away from our warming atmosphere. What makes Massachusetts truly remarkable is not just the presence of these two extraordinary systems, but the invisible thread that connects them. The land and sea here are one single breathing organism. The bogs sit at the headwaters of coastal watersheds, acting as natural filters. Rainwater passes through layers of peat and sand, emerging clean and cold before flowing into the estuaries and eventually into the Atlantic itself. This pristine water supports the dense populations of copepods that the right whales depend on for survival. From the silt of the bog to the spray of the whale's blowhole, it is a cycle of renewal, a continuous loop of filtration, nourishment, and sequestration that sustains both the spirit and the science of the Bay State. Protecting one means protecting the other. Degrading the watershed degrades the feeding grounds. Losing the whale weakens the ocean's ability to grow the plankton that keeps the entire system alive. From the deep-sea pump to the carbon-rich hollows of the South Shore, Massachusetts is a guardian of the global balance. The giant and the grower, the ocean and the bog, the whale and the vine, they are bound together in a relationship older than the Commonwealth itself. By honoring both, by protecting the waters and the wetlands, we protect the reservoir of life that belongs not just to Massachusetts, but to every living thing on this planet. Massachusetts, deeply rooted, infinitely blue.